Hey y'all, I'm Kendra Remedios. I'm an independent country artist here in Nashville, Tennessee, and you are listening to Hank Jr. on Hank's Corner.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Hank's Corner. You know who I am, Hank Jr., part of Hank Jr. Productions, where I'm documenting life's moments through photography, videography, and, of course, podcasting. Now, normally you would find me in my little corner in the Tampa Bay area in Florida, but today I'm actually in New York and Brooklyn to be precise. So that's why the background's different. And, I'm going to do my best to come from this hotel room where I don't have all my equipment, but we're going to make it work because I'm very excited about this next guest that I have on my podcast. She has actually got some roots back in my hometown there in Texas. And welcome to my podcast, Kendra Remedios. Kendra, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing okay. We're just trying to get this to work, right? A little offline. People don't see what we do to get this going, but I think we're doing well. And I mentioned a little bit early on that you come from my home state of Texas. And I think we have something really in common because you're from Arlington, correct?
Yes, I am from Arlington.
Yeah, so I grew up there for a few years. I actually was the first class to go to Bowie High School, the first freshman high school
Oh,
class there. And what school did you go to for high school?
I went to Martin High School.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we played each other.
Well, I didn't get too much of playing. I was there for part of my ninth grade, and I started playing basketball, but got yanked. We got moved to New Jersey, but I do have some roots there, and of course, everybody knows that I got some roots in Corpus Christi. But where are you actually calling in from?
I'm calling in from Nashville, Tennessee.
All right. And that is because you made the move out there and you even got a song about it. We'll talk
Yep.
about it. But how do you like being out there in Nashville versus Texas? Pros and cons.
Yeah, well, Texas will always be home. Like you said, my roots are there, born and raised there my whole life. Um, but Nashville, man, I just can't say enough about the community here. With Texas being so widespread, and a lot of people had talked to me about like the Texas country music scene and how it's its own thing. And I totally agree with that. And I love Texas country music, but it was hard for me to get a little plugged in. And I think it's just because of how wide spread out everything is. You have Austin, Houston, Dallas, hours from each other. Nashville truly is like a little big town. And I just can't rave enough about the community here. I've found my own family here with music, but the pros with being in Nashville are that, but the cons are just I don't have my Texas family. I miss my
Mhm.
family. I miss my hometown friends. They're starting to have babies and missing out on that type of stuff. But I truthfully I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else but Nashville right now.
Yeah, and Nashville, I've always described as a family in itself, especially for music artists. And partly it's because, unlike some of the stuff that I do in photography and videography, we kind of have to compete with each other. And although you guys kind of compete with each other to get your music out, really somebody can listen to your song, somebody else's song. And it's not like a photographer where you only need one photographer. And so you guys have that opportunity to bring each other up and collaborate together and, do that kind of stuff. And you become a family. One of the things I did want to ask, as far as in reference to Texas and talking about the family, because one that you mentioned it's widespread, also that the music kind of is different. There's its own Texas country there. How would you describe your specific music? Like I know people don't like to put themselves in genres, but how would you put yourself? If you had to describe that?
Yeah. Well, so one of the cool things here is I had someone describe it for me, and when they said that, I was like, wow, I've been trying to find a genre for Kendra Remedios, and I think they nailed it on the head. And what someone told me was, I was country soul and rock and roll, and I loved it. Not only was it true, but it rhymes.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I think that you have a little bit of everything that kind of is a melting pot comes together and it works for you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've always loved, country music through and through. Grew up on it, but I've always had this soulful, sultry undertone that is just I was born with. I don't know. I even talk with this type of raspiness in my voice, and that definitely shines through. The grit shines through in my music, and I have a lot of different kind of influences, and I think that it wasn't always just country. I do love some bluesier type songs too. So yeah, country soul, rock and roll. That's kind of what I've been saying lately.
Yeah, and if I had to describe it in different terms, as far as maybe having a drink, because sometimes I like to have drinks when I'm listening to music, and sometimes there's the party songs where you're drinking, having a good time. But with your music, including your most recent song, Darling, I can picture myself with just a glass of whiskey, sipping, relaxing, and just really feeling the music. And I think, like I said earlier, it really works for you, the type of music you put out, especially with your voice.
Well, thank you so much. I love that. Thank you.
And speaking about Darling, which is your most recent song, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I wrote Darlin' with my good friend Joe Walker back in 2020, and it was before I had moved to Nashville. And I had the song idea in my long list that I keep on my phone, and I presented it to Joe, and we one of the easiest songs that we ever wrote. It just flowed out so effortlessly. But really, how it came about, how I even had the song ideas. Well, whenever I'm at a writers round and you tell about the song, and this is kind of my spiel. I always say, I said I wrote this song about a guy back in Texas that just kept calling me darling, and I did not want him to, so I wrote a song about it. But yeah, I just haven't. This guy just kept texting me, and he always kept saying, "Hey, darling, hey, darling, hey, darling," and it just kind of got a little old because I did not want him to call me darling. So I was just like, one day I said to myself under my breath, I was like, "Don't darling me, darling," and I was like, "Ooh, that'd be a good song." So I presented it to Joe, and he worked his magic, and it became one of my favorite songs back in 2020. But I was holding on to it because I don't know, I was just holding on to it because I felt so special and so strongly about it. And so I found a great team here in Nashville to produce it and bring it to life. And I couldn't imagine it any better.
Well,
So,
that's great. And of course, we're not going to darling you here on Hank's Corner, but we're going to go ahead and play Darling.
don't darling me, darling. You smooth talking son of a gun. You're always up to something. You ain't fooling no one. Trying to get that late night. Come on over. I told myself that I was done. Don't darling me, darling. You ain't fooling no one. If I had $1 for every time you said you'd be mine, oh, I'd be so rich if I didn't buy into your lies. Trying to get that
ain't fooling no one. Trying to get that late night, come on over. I told myself that I was done. Don't darling me, darling. You smooth talking something off a gun. Don't darling me, darling. You ain't fooling no one.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. here with Kendra, and that was Darlin'.
Well, I know you said you weren't going to darling me, but that's totally okay. Y'all can darling me at Hank's Corner. I'll allow it for sure.
All right, there we go. As if you watching this on Hank's Corner, special privilege to Darlin, the Darlin here, but only because you got permission from Kendra. And so the second section, I like to brand myself as I document life's moments, and that's through photography, videography, and podcasting. But it's an opportunity to give the singer, music artist, like an opportunity to tell their story. But before you go and tell your story, I want to start with the game that I always do in this segment called Two Truths and a Lie. And you know how this goes. Basically, it's three statements you can give me. Two of them are going to be true, one of them's going to be false, any order. And then I'm going to have to figure out by the end of the show, without asking too many specific questions to give it away, which ones may be true and which ones may be the lie. So if you want to play, let me have it.
Yeah, I love games, so this is good. Okay, let's see. I am Cuban. I am fluent in Spanish, and I am an outdoorsman.
All right. So I need to figure out if you're Cuban, fluent in Spanish, or an outdoorsman. Two of those three are going to be true. One of them's not. So we'll kind of figure it out as we go. People at home like to play along. And I know being Hispanic, or at least coming from a Hispanic family, I'm not very fluent in Spanish, so I don't know if you're going to be similar to me. I can get by, I can have conversations, but if you were to hold me to court, I don't think I could do that well. But so we'll figure that out. So Kendra, tell us how your story goes. Like we talked earlier, you started out in Texas. Well, it's not such a little town anymore. When I was there, Arlington was just starting to boom, but I know it's pretty big now. But how did you get from there to Nashville? What inspired you to do that?
Yeah. Well, I have always loved singing. The joke is that my mom was like, "We knew that you had some lungs on you because you came out screaming." Um, but yeah, as a little girl, just always singing, in the hairbrush or in a boom box. And I think one day my mom was just like, she's actually pretty good. Let's see if she wants to do a talent show. And so I did my elementary school talent show at the age of 7, and I sang "Oops, I Did It Again" by Britney Spears.
Oh,
And after that, I just had a lot of, affirmations from like my friends or the teachers or the parents. And so did my mom. My mom was like, okay, well, it's not just me that thinks that you're talented. Everyone else has given me some good feedback. And I just kept falling in love with it. And if there was a chance that I could sing, I was doing it. Um, and so yeah, I just loved it at an early age. And I was in choir for a while. I was in show choir. I sang at little like Opry's around the DFW area. Started out at a Johnny High Country Music Review. That's where Leanne Rhymes kind of got her start as
Mm-hmm.
well. So I got to meet Leanne Rhymes' godmother. That was like a really cool thing because I made that whenever I was 10 years old. And so, I felt like I was on top of the world and I was famous. All my friends would come and make signs and hold it up, and all my family would come into town. Um, so I did that. And then, it was always intermittent. I was singing, but it wasn't just singing. I played sports. I did a lot of things. And so I was a pretty active kiddo. Um, and then I tried out for, the TV shows. I did American Idol at the ages of 17 and 18 years old. So that was season 11 and season 12. And I made top 100 in the nation both times. And after the second time, I kind of realized, I should probably go to school. I should probably go to college and try to find a different, an avenue, because, music is such a fickle career. You never know. So then I went to dental hygiene school and got my degree. I'm a dental hygienist right now. And I always said, okay, I'll get my degree. I'll find something that I can support myself and have a good career. And then I'll go to Nashville and I'll do the damn thing. And so now here I am, finally made it to Nashville and just kind of hit the ground running and, started singing and uh, playing any chance I get. But before I moved, I'll kind of rewind, sorry. I graduated dental hygiene school in 2019. And then I started singing around town, like in Arlington and DFW, around like 2020, the end of 2020 into 2022. So me and my guitar player, Tom May is his name, we would book every weekend, pretty much Friday, Saturday, Sunday, singing everywhere in DFW. So for about 2.5 years, I was singing a lot of places, bars, restaurants, big venues, small venues, what have you, all up until I decided to make the move in Nashville in 2022.
Yeah, and I know it was a lot of hard work to get where you are, and it did pay off. I want to go ahead and play Texas to Tennessee now, since it fits, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about your story.
Yeah.
What is the best way to say I'm leaving? Tell you straight up, or something made up to hide behind? It's funny how you knew it was a long time coming. Nothing could stop my fickle eyes. The warmth that you brought, the lessons you taught, oh, ain't nothing like home. But now that it's time, don't know if I'm ready, but my roots are overgrown. You treated me well, but I have to go to a new love that I still don't know. Taking a chance and I guess we'll see. Goodbye for now. Texas to Tennessee. Here's all the baggage that I carry. A part of me is losing sleep because I'm petrified. The last piece of the puzzle, from the highway to the hustle, it's gonna be one hell of a ride. You treated me well, but I have to go to a new love that I still don't know. Taking a chance and I guess we'll see. Goodbye for now. Texas to Tennessee. Tennessee. Oh, I'm gone to Tennessee. You treated me well, but I have to go to a new love that I still don't know. Taking a chance, and I guess we'll see. Goodbye for now. Oh, you treated me well, but I have to go to a new love that I still don't know. Taking a chance, and I guess we'll see. Goodbye for now. Texas to Tennessee. Oh, Tennessee.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. here with my special guest, Kendra Remedios, and we're having a good time. And she's been singing since she came out of the womb. The difference between her and me is the doctor actually slapped me so I would stop screaming and wanted me to be quiet. So that's the difference between me and Kendra here. But we were talking a little bit offline, and I know you have a song about your dad because your dad's very special to you, and he played a little bit of part on how you made the decision on which way your music career was going to go. Talk about that. Let the fans know.
Yeah. So kind of how I mentioned before, whenever I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get my degree and have a career that I can support myself, and then immediately I was going to take off to Nashville, guns a blazing. But the Lord had other plans, and life happens. So in 2019, my dad suffered from a brain aneurysm, and so I stayed home to help with him and help my mom, and my brother, and it's the four of us. And you know thank the Lord, it did not take him right away. And usually, I don't know if anyone knows a lot about brain aneurysms, but there's usually not a high survival rate. You're usually gone. But again, the Lord had other plans with that, and he survived. He was paralyzed, and he had to learn to talk again, and learn who we were again. But he slowly started making a comeback, and it was during the time, of in the from 2019 to 2021. Every weekend I was going and seeing him, and I did put music on the back burner a little bit, as in I wasn't going to Nashville, but I was still very active in my writing and my recording, because it was in 2020 when the world shut down. So I actually wasn't working as a hygienist. I never would have thought I would go to school to be a hygienist, graduate in 2019, and then 2020 happened, and then I'm not working as a hygienist. But it allowed me to, spend time writing, spend time with my dad, and he got to hear the songs that I was writing, and I would play it for him. And even though he couldn't completely talk back to me, I could tell that he would like it with, the tap of a finger, or anything like that. Sorry, pause. My dog's whining now.
We often have animals that show up on Hank's Corner, so it's not a first.
This actually was my dad's dog.
Oh, well, see, then that's why. Right on cue.
Yes, I inherited little Rudy. He's a little weenie dog, and he is vocal himself, so maybe he got it from me. But anyway, so I actually wrote a song. It's called "Daddy and Me," and it was one of the first projects that I ever did. My first like writing and recording experience, and I actually wrote the song in the perspective while my dad was still living. He passed away in 2021, and I'm thankful that I got to have that time with him. But I wrote "Daddy and Me" in the perspective. I felt like I lost my dad twice. The first time being, he did survive, but it wasn't the same man completely, but he was still there, and fighting like hell. But it was just a different version of him. And then it's still fitting for whenever he did pass away, as well. But there's a verse in there in verse 2 that says, "You held me, now let me hold you." And it was just, it's just, you held me, you've guided me through this life and made me the woman that I am. And here's a time that you need me, so let me hold you. I was happy to not go to Nashville. I was happy to not, you know chase my dreams. I never even thought of it as putting it on the back burner. Like, I wanted nothing more than to be there for my dad during these times. So it wasn't ever like an inconvenience. And whenever he did learn to talk again, that was a big thing that he would say. He was just like, "I'm so sorry that I'm preventing you from chasing your dreams." And I was like, "You are not for a second doing that." And whenever he did pass away in 2021, it took me a little bit to move to Nashville. I did. He passed away in April of 21, and I didn't move until November of 22. And there came a point where you have to relearn to live your life without a huge significant part of it. And I just kept hearing my dad saying, "What are you waiting for? Go. This is what you've wanted to do your whole life." So he is a huge impact on my music career, because I finally made the jump. Even though I've wanted to do it my whole life, there was a bit that was holding me back after he passed away. But then I realized life is too short, and he'd be so mad at me if I never went. So I'm thankful that I
Yeah,
made
and
it.
I'm sure you're doing him proud. And here on Hank's Corner, we often get very vulnerable in our series. It's not the first, but when people do, I always find it, like a privilege that I get to hear the vulnerable spot of the artist. So thanks for sharing that. I do got to play Daddy and Me now. When we come back, we'll talk some more stuff.
Yeah.
First to the fight, first to forgive, with no regrets in the life well lived. Last to leave, last to give in, and all I wanna be is just like him. And I just wanna turn back time, back to the days when it was him and I. For every emotion and tear that hit that floor, for every moment that's worth fighting for all of the laughs that you gave to me, and all of the times you believed in my dreams. One last time I wish that it could be my daddy and me. You held me, now let me hold you. Another tough time that we'll get through. And I just wanna turn back time, back to the days when it was you and I. For every emotion and tear that hit that floor, for every moment that's worth fighting for all of the laughs that you gave to me, and all of the times you believed in my dreams. One last time I wish that it could be my daddy and me. For every emotion and tear that hit the floor, for every moment that's worth fighting for all of the laughs that you gave to me, and all of the times you believed in my dreams. One last time I wish that it could One last time I wish that it could be, yeah. One last time I wish that it could be my daddy and me.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. here with Kendra Remedios, and that's Rudy. And that's a cute little dog.
Say hello. Say hello.
Oh, look at that. Like I said, it's not the first time a cat or a dog has shown up. Uh, I was thinking about the last guest that I had on my podcast, Rachel DeLong, and I've done over 150 episodes. But she was the first one that was specifically branded as a Christian music artist. And a lot of the people that I have on are Christians and they may sing Christian songs. They're just not branded that way. Now, I know with you, Kendra, that the Lord plays a special thing with you. Tell me a little bit about that real quick. And how did, the Lord get you through the situation? And how do you go about doing your music career to make sure that you may not cross any lines that you may not want to because of that?
Yeah. I give all the glory to God with my music career and just everything in my life. I am a Christian through and through, and I know that I am nothing without Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, and I am just, I incorporate him in my day-to-day walk, and in some of my music, even if it's not, fully Christian based, but I like songs like Daddy and Me, and I do have some songs in the pipeline too that I'm cooking up in the studio that have some references as well. I don't market myself as a Christian artist, but in any interview and on the stage in my day to day my life, I would never shy away from that, ever. But how the Lord helped me through with my dad, I just there's a strength that you get that I when you're going through something so tough, and when the outsiders are looking in and they ask and they say, I just don't know how you do it, or gosh, if I was you, I would be this, or if I was you, I wouldn't know how to function. And the only thing I have to say is because of Jesus. I
Yeah.
mean, it's God doesn't create the terrible situations that we're in. He never said that we would never have trials. He actually promised. He told us that we would have trials. And that was just my trial. And I saw Jesus showing up every instance, with my dad. And even right now that we get to talk about him, and it's just, yeah, I feel like I'm just left a little speechless sometimes because I don't know what all to say except for I couldn't have gone through what I went through, and the things that I had to see my dad and my mom go through. Um, our family had Jesus's arms wrapped around us every step of the way, and my prayer was always, God, please heal my father. Please heal my father. And there was a moment when my dad passed away. Initially, I'm human. I was angry, and I was wondering, God, why didn't you answer my prayer? I said, please heal my father. And then I had a realization that God did heal my dad in the most magnificent way that someone could be healed.
Yeah.
And now my dad is perfect, has a perfect brain, has a perfect body. He went from being paralyzed, he couldn't eat, he couldn't take care of himself, to now he is just in pure joy. And so that is what I hang on to, every day whenever I'm missing my dad, or wondering why did this happen. He just got to go to heaven a little bit earlier than we expected him to. And how lucky is he that he's there with Jesus. And
Yeah, and once
so,
again, thanks for sharing something so vulnerable. Anytime I get the opportunity on Hank's Corner, I'm going to give a section. I wish I could get more to Jesus, but anytime I can, I'd love doing that, and I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Thank you for
So,
asking.
so now I get to figure out the two truths and a lie. So earlier you told me that you are Cuban, that you are fluent in Spanish, and you're did you say avid outdoorsman or
Yes, an outdoorsman.
okay, an outdoorsman? I wasn't sure to what extent.
I
Now,
know, I know. I left it a little vague.
so you're throwing me for a loop because I know that you have a Spanish background, but you're from Texas, and being in Florida, I know there's a lot more Cuban population over here than in Texas. And then because of that, were you taught Spanish growing up, and did you become fluent? So it's throwing me for a loop. But here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that you are Cuban, that you're not fluent in Spanish, and you are an outdoorsman.
Yes, you are correct.
Oh, yes. Okay. So do you know how to make a good Cuban sandwich?
Ooh, I do. Um, I do. I would say Cuban food is not my specialty in the kitchen. It was actually it was my dad's. But I love a good Cuban restaurant. I'll tell you that.
Well, then
I
you
leave it.
definitely need to come back to Florida sometime, and we'll take you around to some of the great Cuban places.
Yes, I leave it to the professionals.
So, in regards to being an outdoorsman, tell me a little bit about that because I know I like getting out every now and then. What kind of things are you doing outdoors?
Yeah, well, I was only a little vague because I didn't want you to get it right away. Um,
Sneaky,
but
sneaky.
yeah, right. And you still got it. But I grew up my whole life hunting and fishing and being outdoors, hiking and camping. But really just the love for hunting and fishing. And obviously, you can tell my relationship with my father, was a really strong and a great relationship. And he got me into hunting and fishing. I really had no really had no choice. It was just like, well, put her in camo and let's get to going. And so I have just fallen in love with, that the outdoors, and I go hunting every year with my family. It's not just about the hunting and the harvest, but it's about the camaraderie that comes with it. Whenever we go to our ranch in Texas, my cousins are there, my aunt and my uncle, and my family, and we sit around the campfire. We ride four wheelers. It's just some of my favorite memories, and truly my happy place is out at the ranch, with my cousins and my brother, and it's just some of the happiest parts of my life. And so I take such a pride in being an outdoorsman, and everything that comes with that too.
Yeah, that definitely sounds fun. And you make a great point because I'm not really a fisherman or anything like that, but just being able to go out there and doing it with, my son or whoever it may be, like I'm okay if I catch one fish, throw it back, but if I can have a conversation, maybe have a drink, just have a good time, at the end of the day, I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of my favorite bonding moments, like with my dad and just with my family, have been out in the middle of nowhere with no cell service, and that's why they call it fishing and not catching too. Because I just went on a river trip in Tellico Plains, Tennessee, with my family, and we were going on a fly fishing trip. And let me just tell you, we were out there for, I don't know, probably about 5 days, maybe caught like four fish. I didn't catch any, but I made memories of a lifetime with my family, just being out there. So there's so many things that encompass being an outdoorsman. And I love everything. I love everything about it.
And one of the things I want to ask you, being a photographer, videographer myself, I noticed, especially with this last one, Darlin, you've had a lot of social media posts, some creative pictures, some creative video. Tell me, who's doing your photography and videography?
Yeah, I'm so glad that you asked because I am just so proud of my like my reels and my videos and the pictures that has come out of this. But it's my good buddy Ike Everard, and I tag him in all my things, so you can find him directly that way. Just such a talent and such a great person. But he's actually done all my cover photos for Texas to Tennessee, Hot Mess and Darlin. And I have done full music videos for Texas to Tennessee, done by him. Hot Mess, full music video out there. And we're actually cooking up the full music video for Darlin as we speak. So, yeah, you can find Texas to Tennessee music video and Hot Mess music video on YouTube. And if you scroll enough in my Instagram, you can see a bunch of those reels and stuff like you saw for Darlin. So yeah, I'm just waiting to get to 100,000 streams on Darlin, and then we will drop the music video on YouTube. So we got to get the streams up so we can drop the music video and just see the magic that Ike Everard is creating.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go stream a few tonight just to help that along because I know I like listening to it. But Ike does
Yeah,
some great work, and if I ever get the chance to collaborate with him up there, I definitely would like to do so. But how
yeah.
fun is it for you to do it? I mean, are you shy behind the camera, or you just love and envelop the character that you're playing?
I absolutely love it. I've never done anything, like filming a music video before, but I have fallen in love with that creative process of it. You have to create one song, you have so many different journeys that you take in creating this one song. You have the writing aspect, and I'm a songwriter, so I write all my music. And then you have the production aspect with the musicians and bringing that all together, and then you have the visual aspect, and that has been one of my favorite parts of it. I dive into the character, and gosh, it's been a blast. So I'm definitely not shy behind the camera. Watch Hot Mess. You'll see.
Yeah, it definitely looks like you're having fun doing it. And of course, those who tune in always know I have to bring up food on my podcast. And that's a good way to kick off the rapid fire section of this is, we talked a little bit about the Cuban food, but do you have a specific comfort food?
Ooh, comfort food. I don't. This isn't like. Well, gosh, man, I love all sorts of food, so this is hard. It's like firing in my brain. I will say, okay, my favorite type of food. I love Asian cuisine. I love sushi. I love hibachi. I love Thai food. So if I get to treat myself or it's a special occasion, I'm getting sushi for sure. But lately here in Nashville, man, I've been eating a lot of chicken tenders.
Go figure.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, do you have a favorite drink?
I do. I love a good martini. I love a dirty martini, extra dirty martini. Love the olives and an espresso martini.
All right. Yeah, I'll make sure I'll remember that when I when I see you. I know what to buy you when you're up on stage.
Exactly.
And
Oh, not tequila because which I'm going to bring this up. This is funny because I know you had Cameron Gardner on your podcast previously, who is one of my best friends here in
yes.
Nashville. Great singer songwriter, as you know. And we wrote Talking Tequila together. And I remember telling her, I was like, Cameron, you're gonna have to cut this song. You're gonna have to sing it because I would be lying. I don't like tequila. I can't do tequila. So it is all yours. So the fun joke is that if we're singing it together, she likes to tell people that Kendra loves tequila shots and to buy me one.
Ah.
But that is not the case.
Well, maybe I'll send you a tequila shot, send her a martini, and then you'll just have to switch it.
Exactly, exactly.
So, given the opportunity to play up on stage with anybody, who would you choose?
Chris Stapleton. Easy.
Oh, that was
Easy.
pretty fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've thought about this.
And given the opportunity to play anywhere in the world, where would you like to play?
The Grand Ole Opry.
You can't beat that, right?
Yeah, cannot beat it.
And if a person were to come to one of your shows, see, I haven't seen you in person yet, so it'll be new to me as well. But if somebody were to come to a Kendra Media show, what should they expect?
High energy. Definitely high energy. I love to sing a lot of belty, in your face, get the crowd rocking and rolling type of songs. A lot of Gretchen Wilson. Um, gosh, even some Journey or Leonard Skinner. Obviously Chris Stapleton. Even when I'm singing my own original music, I have a song that is a crowd favorite, Hot Mess, which is kind of my anthem through and through. But I sing that song, and I'm so thankful that it gets the reaction that it does, because it gets people singing it back to me and out of their seats. And you learn that there's a lot more hot messes than just you in the room.
Yeah, I definitely like that song as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And I hope I get the opportunity to see you shortly, whether it's in Nashville, maybe back in Texas, or if you ever decide to come to my corner in the Tampa Bay area. Definitely would love to see you.
Yes, I would love to see you as well. Come on.
Well, of course, until then, if you ever want to be a guest on Hank's Corner, you're more than welcome to.
Absolutely.
If you wanna know about me, I'll take you down a dirt road where the wild things grow and the crickets kinda sing. There's a little dust on the dash and the engine light on of this old Chevy. That's just how it's gonna be. And if you're gonna get too close, ain't just a pretty faced woman, go and take this as a warning, baby, you should know.